Hello and welcome back to the final FM20 episode on the channel this year. It's Climbing with Cliftonville 5 years later as we take a look back to see what's been happening since we left the club at the end of the 2023-24 season up until now. So I haven't looked at this yet, I have no idea what's happened. The only thing I'm aware of is who took over from me afterwards, which was a bit of a surprise in itself. But aside from that, I don't know what's going to happen today. I'm really intrigued to see whether it was just a fire sale and a return back to the old reputation for Northern Ireland, or were they able to keep it up? Were they able to progress, keep hold of some, produce brilliant youngsters with the youth facilities we created? That's what I want to know. No Premier League jobs coming up there. James Shea, the former Luton goalkeeper, is on the insecure jobs list at Ards. That's the only thing I know here. So if you're looking forward to this one, please do put a thumbs up on it. Subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. We'll have daily FM21 content from 2 long-term stories, as well as almost daily live streams as soon as the beta's released. So I hope you're looking forward to it as much as me. The plans video's in the eye above if you've missed any of that. But let's go and crack on with it. Let's do it. Let's go straight to Cliftonville. There is no point trying to deny it. There is no point trying to flirt around the edges. We are here for one thing. Where are they? Cliftonville, first in the Danske Bank Premiership. So that's a good sign to start with. Let's see how they got on this year. Is it going to be that big 100 points, that big gap? Or is it going to be a bit more modest now? Or we've got a teaser because of the European places. Institute still in the top tier. Linfield still there. Cliftonville, 87 points. So only 11 clear of Larne, which means one of two things. Either this Cliftonville side has got a lot worse, or this Larne side has got a lot better. I'd guess, given the points differences, it's probably Cliftonville getting worse, but I don't want to make assumptions. There's a lot of Cliftonville names on here, and bar Levi Stupple, I don't recognise any of them. He was a youngster at Glentoran maybe, but not the best player in the world, so that surprises me as well. Is that Sammy Wilson at Larne there? Oh dear. I mean, he's become a very good player, Sammy Wilson. Northern Irish international, but what's he doing at Larne? Aside from that, I don't really recognise any of the Cliftonville names, so I think the best thing to do is go and have a look at them. Cliftonville didn't win the title last year. Maybe that's where it went wrong. They're back up to the top now. They've got Tyler McGlaw in central defence as vice-captain. I recognise that name. They've got a Cape Verdean key player, and they've got a Northern Irish manager that I'm not aware of. He was in the game before, though. It doesn't look like he's a regen, which means that the man who replaced us has been sacked, and he was a big name. So that's a surprise as well. The club finance is only secure now, which suggests that either they've spent lots of money or not done great in Europe, but the reputation's bigger, 2.5 stars, so that's good. Let's just go and have a look at the players, shall we? Who's there that we recognise? Anyone? I mean, look at the wages to start with. It's astronomical. How on earth have they spent that much? I don't think there's one player there I recognise, besides David Jarvis, the left-back. And he's very good. Look how good he's become. That's brilliant to see. But I think he might be the only one in the whole squad that was there 5 years ago. That probably doesn't bode well. So let's put them in order of wage, shall we? Levi Stupple's top. He's not that great. He came over via Forest Green from Glentoran. 25-year-old. Tyler McGlaw must be experienced now. 30 years of age. Still very good, though. It's not a bad standard. Mark Norton on loan from Brighton is a good player. Greg Mulgrew at centre-half isn't good. Oh, don't tell me they've wasted the money. This side is nowhere near as good as the one we had. George Furlong, he's a bit better. Jordan Davis, he's rubbish. David Jarvis we know about. Niall Walsh. Oh, this is so disappointing. But let's have a look at this key player. We've got 3 more to go through. Billy Taggart. I tell you what, as a goalkeeper, he's better. And he's a youth product as well. That's really good. Harry Parry. Good name, poor quality. Now comes the key man. Andrade, the Cape Verdean. He's pretty good. He's pretty good. I'll give them that. But I'm a little disappointed by that. I can't lie. How much did those key players get sold for? How much have they spent on this pretty average squad? They're the questions I want to know. And what have Larne done? There are big questions for today. So let's go and have a look. Firstly, at the managers, because we need to see how we got replaced and how that man has disappeared. So we were replaced with Michael O'Neill, who was sacked last summer, having not won the league. He did it every year before that. And Paul Munster has taken over, who was in charge in Indonesia somewhere, Came back to Glentoran, Glenarvan, Ballymena and then Cliftonville. Poor stats. So the fact he's replaced Michael O'Neill is a bit of a surprise. He's now at Motherwell O'Neill. He's managed Preston as well, so he's landed on his feet. And why on earth did the club sack him? That's the question. So interesting on the managerial side, but we need to go to transfers as well. So let's go all the way back to 23-24. This is when we left the club. Let's have a look at the following season. Right, spent 3 million, sold 3 million. We'd already agreed the sales of Noah Daly to Larne and Liam McCarran to Portsmouth. They then sold Thomas Clancy, who was a good young goalkeeper, to Larne. Shane Lavery went back to England. Oh no. They sold Mark Lyons for 250,000. We rejected offers of over 3 million for him. Why did they sell him for that little? Thomas Linley for less than $1 million. Jake Kane less than $1 million. They loaned out a youngster. Conor McDermott on a free to Glenarvan. That's fine. Calvin Faulkner less than $1 million. And all those players are worth multiple millions and playing for massive clubs now. The fire sale started immediately. They did bring in some big players, to be fair. The two that we'd pre-agreed. Stupple was a cheap signing, as was Willie O'Neill from Peterborough. He's okay. Wei Zhen on loan from Manchester City is sensational, worth £60 million now. Cameron McGeehan came in, he rejected us the summer before. Jaden Stockley, at about 30 at the time, came in. A young centre-half who looked very good, but he's since left. Jack Ford from Institute, good youngster, but Norwich seem to be poaching all of our stars. Natman from Bristol City, good young player. Cameron Stewart from Ipswich, okay. So not a terrible summer. Disgusting fees that they've sold some of these players for. But all in all, the squad should have been in good shape then. The following year, let's see what's happened there. Stephen Walsh was sold to Larne Olympic. He was a young right-back who was high potential. Oh, no. No. Nathan Wood was sold for £18,000 and then went to Sevilla. He's now worth £17.5 million. Why did they sell him for £18,000? He was a Premier League standard centre-half. I can't work that out. Sammy Wilson went to Larne for £20,000. Willie O'Neill went for free. They paid 300 grand for him the summer before, didn't they? They did. It doesn't make any sense. And Connor Mitchell went to Ballymena. Oh, I don't understand. Then in terms of transfers, Joe Lolly came in, but he would have been old already. Sean Dorian would have been a good free agent. From Coleraine, but we've let him go to Norwich yet again. Sidney Tavares, good player. So they're signing good players, but they're selling players for terrible fees. And I don't understand what the reasoning behind it is. I can't work that out. How can you sell a player of that quality for £18,000? Someone. Let's move on to the following year, because this is devastating. The following year, Nico Williams sold for £47,000. Eloy sold to Barcelona for £50,000. A wonder kid, a Spanish wonder kid. Where did he come through? Is he in our youth system? He was. This guy came through the Cliftonville youth system. They've sold a wonder kid to Barcelona for 50 grand. Oh, if we'd still been in charge and that kid had come through, we would have kept him like his life depended on it. That's incredible. And I know Connor Crawford's going for peanuts soon, so I've got to keep my eyes peeled for that. They were still loaning in big players from Manchester United, Manchester City. They brought back Ben Hall from Larne, who wasn't good enough when we left the club. So he replaced Nathan Wood, essentially. They spent 180 grand on Mulgrew, 30 grand on him. Oh, this is devastating. This is the summer it went wrong. The signings were a lower quality. They sold the wonder kid. They sold Nico Williams. Let's move on to last season. This is when they lost the title. And it's because they sold Connor Crawford. £200,000. That Jordan Davis, they've signed for £1 million. Him, £1 million. I can't explain it. I didn't know whether this was going to be positive or negative. It has been a disaster. 50 grand Saul Shotton sold to Lincoln. Connor Crawford to Leicester. Look at him. He's so good. He's worth 15 million and they sold him for 200 grand. Look at the quality he's got. Look at the talent. He's a Northern Ireland star and they've let him go for peanuts. I cannot explain it. They were still loaning in decent players, but the quality was going down. Rather than loaning from City and United, we're loaning from Bristol City. We're bringing on frees from Glenarvan as backups. This is the summer where it went from wrong to disastrous. And you can see why they lost the league this year. Let's move on to this season. Andrade came in 1.2 million, but he's a good player, so that's fair enough. And in terms of the sales, I'm guessing the last of those will have left. Although there's none I really recognise. Dorian went to Norwich, less than $1 million, even though he's top quality. It's just devastating. I don't know how it's gone so wrong. I don't know why they're selling players for such small fees if their reputation's now 2.5 star. That's the other thing I don't understand. So let me know what you think of that. I'm going to go and have a look at the Premiership. It was Larne who won it the season that they didn't. In fact, Michael O'Neill didn't go that season. It was the year after. So let's have a look at Larne and see what they've been doing. Their key player is Sammy Wilson, who we were bringing through, who was a brilliant young player. And he's become a superstar. But let's have a look at who else they've got in the squad. So Robbie Hassan is still there. Kofi Baumer is still there. Sammy O'Hare from Linfield has gone and is still there. Noah Daly's still there. He's earning big money. Ethan Galbraith has joined them. Justin McKee is still the goalkeeper. So a lot more recognisable names there. Bobby Burns was at Linfield at one stage. Colin McGeevy, they're not a great side, but they did okay. I'm looking at this before I look at Cliftonville's European form deliberately, because I think I'm going to have a meltdown when I see it. But for Larne, it's not been quite so bad. I just want to see if the investment's still there, really. So this summer, no, not really. The year before, no, not at all. The year before that, not at all. They've not really invested at all since we left. Only the first summer. And that's about it. So the whole league seems to have gone to pot again. That's really disappointing. I didn't expect it to go this badly. Grant McCann's in charge there. It's one slightly bigger name, I guess. But let's have a look at Cliftonville's European form. In fact, no, we're going to do one other thing before that. We're going to have a look at the transfers across the country. Just want to see the record fees each year. Are there any other clubs paying big money, I guess? So this year, 34,000 for Glenavon. Not really. The year before, no money really spent at all. The year before that, all Cliftonville and Larne. This is devastating. Where's the rest of the Irish game gone? All Larne the year before that, not even Cliftonville getting really involved. And the first season after we went, Larne spent on a couple, Cliftonville spent on a couple. But even then, there was no other fees really. It really is disappointing. I expected so much more. But let's go back to Cliftonville and have a look at Europe, shall we? The thing that's probably going to annoy us the most. If we go all the way back to 24-25, that was the first summer after we left. So that year, they made the Europa League. They still had most of the squad in place. We expected that. So Europa League group stages, they got a win at home to Astana, a win away to Astana, and that got them through to the Europa Conference where they lost to Feyenoord, something we did, so we can't argue with that. The following year, they got to the Europa League group stages. They drew with Bucharest, they drew with PAOK, they beat Krasnodar, then a defeat, a win against Bucharest, and a defeat. What did that mean? Nothing. That's unfortunate, to be fair to them. The year after that, Europa League group stages. Good to see. I don't think they got anywhere out of it though. No. The following year, out in the second qualifying round in the Europa Conference because they didn't win the league. So this is when it all went wrong. And then last season, back into the Europa Conference group stages. So a slight recovery. How did they do there? Drew with Sparta Prague. Drew with Malmo. Lost the others. Beat Sparta Prague. Lost to Malmo. So they must have gone out there. They did. So not quite as bad as I thought in Europe based on the transfers, to be fair to them. But that year of not winning the league really made them go wrong. So let's see if Larne got anywhere as well. If we look at the senior squad of Larne, this season, out in the qualifiers in Europe. The year before, Europa Conference group stages. That's not too bad. So they are getting some European football. Lost in the first qualifier the year before, the third qualifier the year before that, and the first qualifier the year before. So this was the first time really, 2 years ago, that they made it to group stages, and it's dried up again since. Let's look at the other teams that have been there. If we have a look at the tables quickly, I guess that's the only other thing we can do. So this season, Ballymena 3rd, Linfield 4th. Is there a pattern? Linfield 3rd, Ballymena in Europe. Linfield and Glenavon, Ballymena and Glenavon. Glentoran and Glenavon. Coleraine and Linfield. That was our last season. Right, so after we finished that summer, Coleraine didn't invest. Presumably they went out. They did. They got to the third qualifier and then that was it for them. After that, Linfield. Let's see how they got on. Did brilliantly to recover from the relegation zone, actually. So let's have a look at their squad. This year, first qualifier. Year before, third qualifier. No Europe, third qualifier. So aside from Larne, I don't think anyone's reached the group stages. Ballymena had a couple. First qualifier this year, third the year before, and second the first... No, that was when we were still there. So no group stages for them. Glentoran were in there once, and then it's just Glenavon to save the day. So Glentoran lost in the first qualifier. Glenavon, the final ones, I'm guessing based on their league claps, it didn't go particularly well for them. But let's see how they got on. First qualifier. Oh my words. So the biggest problem here is reputation, isn't it? The league has actually gone up in reputation quite a lot. It's up there with the Scottish Championship, with League One in England. But the players are still going for tiny fees. Nathan Wood would not be sold from a League One club for $18,000. And he had 3 or 4 years on his contract, so how's that happening? That's the big thing to ponder for next year. I hope it has improved. But that's going to be something we'll have to keep an eye on. Otherwise, the Bangor City Challenge is going to be difficult. So let me know in the comments, what did you think of that? Was it what you expected? Was it better? Was it worse? I'm pretty disappointed by it, to be honest. Not so much the things drying up. Larne reached group stage football, that's great. Cliftonville not actually too bad in Europe. But sacking Michael O'Neill, the fact that they sold players for such nominal fees is really frustrating. And I'd love to know if you expected it or if you're a little disappointed. If you did enjoy this roundup, the final FM20 episode on the channel, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. You'll get alerts as daily FM21 content releases, as well as live streams from the beta almost every day. You can also check out my latest matchday vlog from an EFL game in the podcast channel in the eye above. A massive thank you for your support over there as well. And I hope to see you next time for FM21 action, as we'll be back as soon as the beta's released. Thank you for your incredible support with this series, and I'll see you next time.